Imagine this for a second. You've just landed, you check into your hotel in Waikiki, drop your bags, and you walk out onto Calico Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just sensory overload, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the high-end stores, Prada, Gucci, you've got the skyscrapers, the humidity, the smell of sunscreen mixed with city exhaust.
It's an urban center, right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
A full-on metropolis.
Exactly. But then you look out your hotel window, past all that, and you see these jagged emerald green ridges just cutting into the sky.
Right.
And you realize, wait, there's a whole other island out there. A raw, wild, kind of Jurassic Park-looking island that feels a million miles away from the Louis Vuitton store you're standing in front of.
That contrast really is the defining feature of Oahu.
Yeah.
You have town, which is Honolulu, and then you have the country.
And bridging that gap is like the #1 thing on every traveler's list, the Circle Island tour.
It's the quintessential experience.
Mm-hmm.
But today, we're looking at a very specific way to do it, not the standard hop on a bus with 50 strangers approach.
No, we're doing a deep dive into materials from an operator called Halia Private Tours.
We've got their route maps, their pricing, a bunch of guest reviews, and photos that, quite frankly, make me want to book a flight right now.
Same here. But our mission is a bit deeper than just looking at pretty pictures. We're analyzing the logistics of how you actually navigate a complex island.
And we're looking at the geography, which is trickier than it sounds, the economics of private versus group tours, and this idea of curated autonomy.
Curated autonomy, I like that.
It's the core theme here. It's the difference between being a passenger and being an explorer who's actually, directing the ship.
Okay, so let's start with the geography, because that was the first thing that hit me when I was reading their materials. We call it a Circle Island tour, but you can't actually circle the island.
That's the #1 misconception they flag. It's a geographical fact of Oahu. If you look at a map up in the northwest corner,
Top left of the island. Got it.
there's no road there. The windy mountain range basically just falls straight into the ocean. It's a dead end.
So you can't drive from the North Shore around the west side back to Honolulu.
The road literally stops.
Yeah.
So when they say Circle Island,
You go up the east side, across the North Shore, and then you have to cut back down through the middle of the island to get back to town.
through all the pineapple fields.
That's
Exactly.
a huge distinction. They break this down into 3 options: 6 hours, 9 hours, and 12 hours. And I initially thought, well, it's just the same tour, just slower.
And that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
The sources really emphasize that these are fundamentally different experiences. Oahu isn't small when you factor in the roads and, well, the traffic.
Let's break them down then. The 6-hour tour, who is that for?
Halia calls it the mini circle, but looking at the map, it's more like the sampler platter. In 6 hours, you just cannot do the full loop justice. The source says this is for people who want to pick a lane, either the North Shore or the South Shore, not both.
So if you try to see the big waves on the North Shore and the blowhole on the South Shore in 6 hours, you're just going to be stressed out in the car the whole time.
Exactly. You'll get maybe one major activity and 2 or 3 quick photo stops.
Yeah.
It's for someone with a short attention span or maybe a flight to catch. It's a taste, not a meal.
Okay, so if we want the real experience, the one that justifies the plane ticket, what are we looking at?
The sources all point to the 9-hour full day as the sweet spot. That's the standard for actually circling the Kula Range, effectively.
And why is 9 the magic number? Is it just about traffic?
It's about the pacing. 9 hours gives you the buffer to hit both the North and South Shores without feeling rushed. You can fit in 1 or 2 real activities like a proper swim or a short hike and still get 3 to 5 photo stops.
It balances drive time with due time.
Perfectly put.
And then there's the 12-hour option, the long day. That sounds intense.
It is the deep dive package. Sunrise to sunset. You're looking at 2 or 3 big activities, maybe up to 6 photo stops. But this is where we have to talk about the elephant in the room, traffic.
Right. I've heard the horror stories. Honolulu has some of the worst traffic in the U.S.
It's legendary. And this is where the vehicle choice completely changes the experience. Sitting on a tour bus in gridlock for 12 hours it's exhausting.
You're stuck. Weak AC waiting for 40 other people at every stop.
It just drains you. But in the private model,
You control the environment.
you control the AC, the music, the conversation. If you're stuck in traffic, you're in a comfortable SUV with your own group. The fatigue factor is just so much lower. It turns a marathon into a road trip.
Okay, which brings us to the economics. And I'm going to challenge you on this because when I saw the price sheet, I flinched. The 9-hour tour is listed at $799. That's a lot of money.
But we have to look at how they price it.
Okay, so let's do some quick math here because context is everything.
If you're a solo traveler or a couple, yes, you're paying a lot per head. It's a splurge. But what if you're a family of 4? Now compare that to the big bus tours. A premium seat on a comparable bus tour can easily run you $150 to $200 per person.
So for a group, the price difference between being herded like cattle and having a private chauffeur is...
It's negligible. In some cases, the private option might even be cheaper. And the value proposition, the return on your vacation time, is in a completely different league.
You're not paying for a seat, you're paying for autonomy.
Exactly. And that leads to the concept we mentioned earlier, curated autonomy. The source material has this slogan, your day, your way. But is that just marketing fluff?
Well, every tour company says they're flexible.
But based on the reviews, this seems to be a real operational benefit. The biggest complaint you see about bus tours is the lowest common denominator problem.
Meaning?
Meaning you are held hostage by the slowest person on the bus.
Yeah.
If someone gets stuck in the gift shop for 20 minutes, you're sitting in the parking lot waiting.
Ugh, yes. Or if you don't care about the pineapple maze, too bad. You're there for an hour because it's on the schedule.
I saw a review from a guest named Jennifer T. that hit on this. She said it was the absolute best way to tour. She didn't feel rushed. She felt like she owned the day.
And there was another one from Jackie Rhymes. She mentioned their guide, Michael, called him a walking encyclopedia.
Yes, but the detail that really stood out to me was about potty breaks.
Ha! The biological needs.
That sounds trivial until you're on the North Shore with no public restrooms in sight.
Oh, totally. If you've had 3 coffees and the bus isn't scheduled to stop for another hour, that is actual misery.
Exactly. The review noted that the guide adjusted the whole itinerary on the fly for lunch preferences and bathroom stops. If you have young kids or someone with back issues who can't sit for hours, that flexibility isn't a luxury. It's an accessibility requirement.
That's a really important point. It opens up the island to people who physically can't handle the grind of a bus tour.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You aren't climbing steep bus stairs. You're in a vehicle that can pull right up to the lookout. It makes the experience accessible.
So we've covered the cost and the logistics. Let's talk about the fun stuff, the visuals, the reason you go in the first place. The photos and the source material are they're stunning.
They do a great job of showing the diversity. You're not just looking at beaches for 9 hours.
Right. It literally looks like a movie set because it is one. They filmed Jurassic Park, Lost, everything there.
The topography is just unreal. These vertical fluted cliffs rising straight from the valley floor. It feels prehistoric. You half expect a T-Rex to walk out.
And then you have the South Shore coastline. Those images of Halona Blowhole or Makapu Lookout, it's all volcanic black rock, winding roads on a cliff edge, and that deep turquoise water crashing below.
It's a dynamic drive. The visual narrative changes every 30 minutes. You don't get bored.
And the wildlife. I have to bring up the turtle photo.
The money shot.
Yes. There's an image of a couple on a beach, and right behind them is this massive Hawaiian green sea turtle just basking on the sand.
That's a huge draw. The text mentions you can paddleboard with them or spot them on the beach.
But this is where having a good guide is critical, right? You can't just go hug a turtle.
Absolutely not. They're protected. A good guide makes sure you get that amazing photo without harassing the wildlife or, getting a massive fine. It's about access with respect.
The sources also list cultural stops like the Byodo Temple, botanical gardens, even Pearl Harbor, though they say that's often its own thing.
Which goes back to the flexibility. If you're not a temple person, you just skip it. You invest that time somewhere else.
Where should you invest that time, in my opinion? The food.
I knew we were getting to this.
You cannot go to Oahu and not eat. And the source material specifically highlights the food truck culture. This is not a boxed lunch with a stale sandwich tour.
No, and that's a huge difference from the bus tours. Big buses have to stop at big places that can handle 50 people at once. The food is functional.
It's fuel, whereas Halia lists the heavy hitters. Leonard's Bakery.
Malsadas.
If you haven't had one, it's this Portuguese donut, no hole, roll in sugar, sometimes filled with custard, and they have to be eaten hot.
Which is much easier in a private car than on a bus where you're trying not to get sugar on a stranger.
They also list the North Shore staples, Giovanni's shrimp truck.
The iconic garlic shrimp. But here's the thing. Giovanni's can have a 45-minute line. It's famous.
Oh, easily. I've seen it.
A private guide knows the rhythm. They know to get you there before or after the main lunch rush. Or they'll suggest an amazing alternative if the line is just too crazy. That local knowledge buys you back so much time.
The sources also mention the agricultural side. Dole Plantation, of course, but also Kohana Rum and Green World coffee farms.
Which means you could basically design a tasting tour if you wanted to. Skip the beaches and just do coffee, rum, and shrimp.
A Circle Island booze and caffeine tour, I'm in.
And why not? That's the whole point. Your day, your way.
They also mention active things, hiking Diamond Head, swimming at Turtle Bay. It's not just passive sightseeing.
It's about being in the environment, not just watching it through a window, getting sand on your feet.
And if I'm a listener who's a bit overwhelmed by the options, what's the strategy?
Based on our analysis,
Yeah.
I would strongly recommend the 9-hour full-day tour.
Why that one specifically?
It minimizes the fear of missing out. 9 hours guarantees you see the whole transition from south to north. It gives you the full context of the island.
It's the Goldilocks option.
It really is.
And for customization, I assume you don't just book the 9-hour and show up.
No, you need to give them input. The source says you can pick themes.
So you do a little homework.
Just a little. Tell them, I love nature photography, and I really want to eat garlic shrimp. Or, I have a bad knee, but I love history. Give the guide the raw material so they can build the perfect day for you.
I love that. It makes the guide a collaborator, not just a narrator.
Precisely. It shifts the dynamic from, here's the tour we offer, to here's the tour we built for you.
So, to pull this all together, we've looked at the route, the pricing math, the food, the logistics. What's the real takeaway?
I think the takeaway is that a private Circle Island tour isn't really about transportation. It's about buying freedom. You're buying the ability to manage your time and your energy on a very complex island.
It's the difference between seeing Oahu and actually experiencing Oahu.
And here's a thought for you to mull over. We live in this age of must-see lists from Instagram and TikTok. We feel this pressure to check every single box.
It becomes a job, a checklist.
It does. But maybe the true luxury of travel today isn't the ability to see everything. Maybe the real luxury is the ability to skip the things you don't care about. To drive past that crowded lookout without stopping so you can spend an extra hour eating garlic shrimp by the ocean, watching the waves with no one checking their watch.
The luxury of saying no to the tourist trap so you can say yes to the moment. I love that. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Always a pleasure. Safe travels.